Hi, I'm here today at Lake Thunderbird State Park. I figured I would try out some gear. It is election weekend in 2020 and I want to think about anything but politics. It's Monday. I am going to go in the morning after I finish camping to vote. But for tonight, I'm not going to think about politics and all of the nonsense going on right now. Just going to relax here on the pretty water. Earlier we had some American coots. I was going to show you those, but they're a little off in the distance. I'll throw in some photos. So anyway, I'm going to do a gear check tonight. I am using my new Wildcat underquilt my wife showed me. It should be good down to about 20 degrees. It's only going to get 45 tonight, I think, so it's not going to be very cold at all. We'll see how well that holds up. I'm also going to try out a few interesting meals for backpacking season before we go to any of these longer trips. Make sure I like them. I really don't want to be in the woods and have to eat stuff you don't like. That defeats the purpose of having a good time. I'll show you my setup here in a moment, and at the end of this video I'll include any good photos that I get of the birds or wildlife. I like to do birding photography. I'm not very good. I use a Canon SX540 power shot. It's an excellent camera for the price range, about 300 bucks. So that being said, welcome. Hopefully you have a good time, and let's go camping. All right, so I'm going to show you my setup. Apologies ahead of time for the sunglasses. I'm kind of facing the sun. I didn't want all of the glare from the sun, and all of the shots might get uncomfortable to look at. So this is the best view. Moving on, this is my setup for the night. So I've got my Eno double nester hammock for this trip. My AMOC is still in the mail. I cannot wait. I'm using the daisy chain loops to attach it with. You can see them hanging there. I've got my Wildcat underquilt. It's named that because it's named after my school's alma mater, and that is my school's colors. Wildcat was our mascot. I've got my little camp chair there. This is really handy for cooking, making breakfast, and I'm embarrassed to say it took me a long time to figure out I could set my boots on there so I could reach them easy if I had to get up in the middle of the night to pee or run off an animal. I have this set up in porch mode right now, so I've got my black diamond trekking poles holding up the corners. This allows a much better, more open view when I get in my hammock, which is pretty easy. The tarp that I'm using, because some folks will ask, Sanctuary Sill Tarp, is by Pariah Outdoor Products. It's about 80 bucks. I like it, but I prefer the one AMOC makes. It's about the same system. I am pitched rather tight, and this is why part of my rain fly is wrapped around the tree as well. I don't like to do that, but I didn't have a choice if I wanted the view, and I will show you the view that I have when I get in my hammock and look outside. Here's my top quilt. So this is my view. In the morning I'm going to lay here and have breakfast, and this is what I'll be looking at. Just something to consider is learning to camp in the colder weather. So everyone wants to go in the summer, and that's the problem. You never find a good camping spot. You end up beside that loud group that have all of the barking dogs and the big family who like to stay up super late and make a lot of noise. And I personally find it far more better to camp in the colder months of the year. So the spring, the fall, and the winter tend to be better camping, in my opinion. It's just a matter of gear. For example, tonight the Wildcat underquilt I showed you is down to 20 degrees. It's only going to get around 45 tonight at most. And to be frank, I'll probably get a little too hot and having to loosen the straps just so I can cool off a bit. I would recommend that the other benefit is, because you have the campground to yourself, you can pick out the perfect spot. I much prefer to hang a hammock, and in fact, if I don't think there's a spot I can hang a hammock, I won't go. I don't even own a tent anymore. I find it a little useless, not comfortable at all. Far prefer to be in the air. In my system, it's very easy to stay warm, and I kind of have the place to myself. So when my wife and I went to Salt Plains, you can see the little video of that in my channel too. My wife and I went to Salt Plains to see the sandhill crane migration. It's like a little mini vacation. We actually had that entire campground to ourselves. The only other people there were birders, and they were in a different campground, and most of them just come by day. So consider getting out there. Get out of your comfort zone, get a few better pieces of gear, and you and I both know that you can wear enough clothing and layers that you can be perfectly comfortable. You have the campground to yourself, and we all know one of the great things that make a camping experience memorable is finding a good site that you enjoy, one with the right shade trees, one with a good fire pit, with a picnic table that isn't broken, with the best view of the water and the best fishing spots. I'm walking through this entire campground right now, and not a soul here. Kind of have my pick of the place. I can do about whatever I want. I also don't have to run all the way to the restroom if I just have to pee. It's a nice thing. Another great thing about there not being other people here, does have its advantages. I'll show you right here. I am going to gather me, here we go, some persimmons. So we just had the first frost, and this tree behind me, full of persimmons. A lot of these are ripe right now, so I'm gonna grab a bunch of these now, wash them off, have them for dessert with my meal tonight. And if there were a bunch of people here this time of year, all of these would be gone. But since it's going to be cold and I'm in the tent camping section, no one else is going to be here. I have all this wonderful food for myself, and don't tell anybody. All right, so my water is almost boiling. I'll show you what this looks like freeze-dried before I add the water to it. In this case, I prefer now to eat out of my pot, so I'll add this directly into my pot. But here's what it looks like before. Now, trust me, I know it doesn't look too appetizing now, but here in a moment, it's going to be delicious. All right, it's been about 8 minutes. Let's see what we got. Oh, it smells great. Bring that to you there. It's no extra water. Some squirrels are off playing. No extra water, that's a good sign. Oh wow, that's incredible. It really tastes like it was diced and made today. It's fantastic. I'm gonna eat my dinner. So it's getting dark. It is 6 o'clock. Michelle, my wife, just texted me and told me that she is safe at home. She made the trip back. It's about a 30-minute to 45-minute drive, depending on traffic. It can be a little longer. I had dinner. It was very delicious. Had a little fire. I'm still going to sit by it for a few minutes. But I'm making sure my hammock is comfortable right now. Kind of lit by this little Lucy light. I'll show you. It's like a little inflatable lantern. Very small. It is solar powered, and it's not all the way inflated. I don't really use my mouth to inflate it. I will just pull on the valve and that'll suck air in. It's pretty handy. Had my last one for a really long time. I upgraded to this one. It's just a little smaller, a little more compact. I'll show you my view too. I'm swinging out in the hammock this evening. Here's the UCO lantern at night. As you can see, it's small. It's just a single candle. You can see how bright it is, and I'll show you a picture. If you were to leave this in your camp, that's an easy way to be able to find your way back as it starts to get dark if you were to wander off to have to use the restroom or something similar. I think it's quite well worth the money. 15 bucks, not to mention these tea light candles. You can buy in 24 packs or 12 packs for just a few dollars, and each one burns about 4 hours. It's also really handy to have in the case of an emergency or a power outage. Well, that was really nice. I had to go ahead and put out the fire. It is now 15 after 7 in the evening. Sunset today was at 5:32 p.m.
Ever since the time change this week, it's getting darker much earlier. So I'm going to lie here in my hammock, and that's okay with me because that's half of the reason that I camp. The other half is breakfast and coffee from the hammock in the mornings. Who doesn't love that? And I guess in the third half would be birds. It's 150. That works out. That's fine. I have my notebook here tonight, so I'm going to lie here and make a few notes about what worked well, what didn't, what gear I liked, what gear I brought that I didn't need, so I know not to carry it in my pack for next time. There's no need for extra weight for no reason. So far, this underquilt that my wife sewed, is right here on the side, it is doing really well. I'm not using a blanket or anything yet, and it's in the mid to high 50s right now, and I'm perfectly warm even without a blanket, so I'll sleep nice and cozy tonight. I'm going to listen to a podcast for about an hour till I start to get sleepy. I'll go to bed early tonight, and while you're waiting on me to wake up, here's something for you.
I think it's time for a ghost story. A man laid down to take a nap. When he opened his eyes, awake again, he opened them on Death himself. Death, silent, holding on to a scythe, leaned in and said, "It's time." The man, terrified but eager to stay alive, said, "You can't kill me yet. You can't kick me out of my body. I need at least a week. It's not fair. I have so much left I want to do." Death lowered his hood, looked down upon the man and said, "A week? Son, just this year alone you've had 52 weeks. What have you done with them?" I think you should go camping soon. Got so excited about coffee, forgot to make my breakfast yet. We're gonna have hash brown potatoes with bacon, peppers, and onions. It should be interesting. It's self-heating and fully cooked, heats with any water, basically MRE style. Show you that, that's pretty interesting. Steam coming out of that bag, it's cooking. Does not look appealing, but when you're hungry, food tastes different. Well, it tastes much better than it looks, but I don't think it's heated evenly through. Some spots are a little hotter than others, some are a little cold. I think the good old-fashioned method is probably better and less expensive. Show you a cool way to find north using just a few sticks. So I've got a stick in the ground right here. The sun is casting a shadow of that stick all the way out to here. I'm going to put another stick right where the end of that shadow is. Now I'm going to wait about 15 minutes and I'm going to put a second stick where the shadow ends up because the shadow is going to move. I'll show you what happens next. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes, and as you can see, the line is shorter now. So here's our first stick right here, and now the shadow ends about here. So I'm going to put a second stick there to mark that. Now you have to do at this point is we're going to lay another stick. I'm going to use a big one so you can see right across, touching both of those. A straight stick is preferable. And if I put my feet up against this stick, I am now facing relatively close to north and south. So I'm either facing north or I am facing south. I've created my 4-point system. And the easy way to tell is the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So if I know that right now to my left is the east, my right is west, I am facing south. All right, I'll show you what I filmed with today. It's kind of neat. It fits right in my pocket. This is an Atom Tech selfie stick. It has a great little USB remote here that detaches, so I can take photos of, say, a landscape shot. That way, whenever I push the button on my phone, I don't accidentally shake the camera, so I can get a much less blurry photo. In addition to being so compact, it does extend, of course. This part here is what extends to attach to your phone. The head is adjustable on all of the axes. This extends to about 3 feet, so I can get nice quick shots whenever I'm walking. And the really cool thing is it extends in the bottom and turns into a tripod. That way I can get pretty shots of landscapes without touching my phone and getting that blur I talked about. And I can walk away, stand away, talk, do my thing, and it beats tying my phone to a tree, which is what I've done right now. It packs away pretty much instantly, just like that. And because you asked, yes, there is a selfie stick in my pocket, but I'm so happy to see you.